In this lesson, you will learn how to use the calculator to calculate proportions and determine the z-value for a given percentile. There are a few tools specific to the normal distribution that the calculator can help us with. Here's what the calculator can do. Given a z-score, the calculator can find the area under the curve, and given a percentile, the calculator can give you the z-score. However, here's what the calculator cannot do. The calculator cannot take the place of showing your work on paper. So it's a tool that might help you save a little bit of time in terms of calculation or graphing, but you still need to have written on your paper all the same work that we did in the other lessons on normal distribution. So what we'll do in this lesson is take some problems that we did in other lessons and show how the calculator could be a tool to help us with the solutions. Let's say we wanted to find the proportion of women whose heights are between 60 and 66 inches. If you recall, the heights for women were normally distributed with a mean of 64 inches and a standard deviation of 3 inches. On the calculator, we're going to use a new button. We're looking for the distribution or distra button. It's right here. It's a little tough to see. The button actually says VARS, but right above it is the distra. So in order to get any of those functions that are above the button, you need to use the second button. What you'll do is press the second distribution, and then you'll find normal CDF. It's choice number 2. Press enter and input 60, 66, 64, and 3. Let's talk about what all those numbers are. The first two numbers tell us the area we want to find is between those two numbers. In this case, the area is between 60 and 66. The second two numbers tell us the mean and the standard deviation for this particular normal curve. If you're looking for the comma, it's right above the 7, right here. After you input these numbers and press enter, the calculator gives 0.6563 as your answer. So this means that the proportion of values between 60 and 66 inches is 0.6563. By the way, you'll see CDF on the calculator. What does CDF stand for? CDF stands for Cumulative Distribution Function. You might have heard the word cumulative in reference to an exam. If you have a cumulative exam, it tests you on everything from the beginning up until now. If I'm looking at a cumulative distribution function, I'm looking at everything from one point to another. And that's what I'm doing here, looking for the area between blank and blank. What you need to put into your calculator after you hit second distribution, number 2, normal CDF, is you need to tell the calculator where you want it to start and where you want it to end. So those are the bounds of your area. The final two numbers are the mean and the standard deviation of the normal curve. Let's try this with an example. In example number 1, the heights of young women are normally distributed with a mean of 64 inches and a standard deviation of 3 inches. Use your calculator to find the proportion of women who are taller than 66 inches. Let's do this one together. Even though I'll use my calculator, I'll draw my picture as I always state. I want the normal curve such that the mean is 64, the standard deviation is 3, and the area is from 66 and above. So in my calculator, I'll find second, distribution, normal CDF. Now, the arguments I need are the start, the end, the mean, and the standard deviation. That's the part that's a little tricky about this one. There really is no endpoint. If I want from 66 and higher, this can technically go on to infinity. Well, in a normal curve, when we're looking at the area underneath it, at some point when we keep going to the extremes, that area will be so small, it won't really add to the area. In our calculator, what that means is, if I just put 66 as my start, and I put a pretty big number as my end, it'll give me the right answer. For example, I could put 66, 100,000, 999,000, or even 1 million. You still get about the same answer. So the solution to find the proportion of women who are taller than 66 inches is about 0.2525. Let's practice together with another problem. In example number 2, the heights of young women are normally distributed with a mean of 64 inches and a standard deviation of 3 inches. What height represents the 90th percentile? Notice, this is the type of question where I give you the percent and you give me the x value. This is a different calculator function. To solve this without a calculator, we would set up our z formula, z equals x minus the mean over the standard deviation, and substitute everything we know. We know the mean, we know the standard deviation, we do not know x because that's what we're looking for, and then we use the chart to find our z-score. Now, what we're doing in this lesson is using our calculator to find the z-score. This function is called the inverse norm, or inv norm on the calculator. If you know the percentile, but need the z-score, this is the function that you'll want. You can find it in the distribution menu. Press second, distribution, and scroll down to inverse norm. And the area that we're interested in is 0.9. Our mean for a standard normal is 0 with a standard deviation of 1. The tail is to the left, so we just need to hit enter. And that gives us 1.28. If you recall, that was the z-score that we looked up on our chart that goes with p equals 0.9. So what the calculator is doing is replacing the need for the chart. In the example 2 solution, the only thing that the calculator saves us from doing is looking it up in the chart. I still have to do all of this work that you see to find the answer. You still have to solve the equation to find the x value, which in this case is 67.84. Now for the lesson wrap-up. After this lesson, you should be able to use the normal CDF on the calculator to find the area under a normal curve, and use inverse norm on the calculator to find the z-score for a given percentage. For those of you who are still a little bit uncomfortable with the calculator, that's okay. Nothing that I showed you in this lesson is mandatory for answering any of the questions. You can do all of the problems by using the chart or using graphs that we already know how to make. However, for those of you who like using the calculator, feel free to use normal CDF and inverse norm. That concludes this calculator lesson. Remember, you can review this video as many times as needed for better understanding. Thanks for watching.